really proud that, in fact, all the results we were holistic results, not only what we do, the reference to the development of economical one, but it was really positive. But do we started again to develop at the same time as the organization was transforming with a high impact in everything related to the social matters as well. That's why we want to share with you guys the first quarter. Since the social point of view, we were working initiatives in order to start the access on the rural again, because we feel really proud that we have enough positions that with families as well. It's going to be two more than 1,000 families, more the municipalities of Jesus Maria in Santander that today, in fact, we were benefits of this initiative as well of rural gas as well. So that's why we wanted to start with all these aspects as well. We was a commitment in order to continue transforming in some ways with the sustainable and competitive as well that is feasible to us as well. When we get into what we have this economical development, we see this income something was increasing 2.5% as well. Operational, in fact, extraordinary one, more than 16.5%, and a mobility, for example, of the 17.2. We deliver more energy for the country, and it was the volume, the final volume that we have as well during the final term of the period. Since the point of view of everything related to what we have in this development, which is very important to tell you guys how we just arrived to this point. And for us, one of the pillars that we have just from the beginning is administration has manifested is a capacity to grow up and to develop the business, that pillar of enhancing as well. That's why that pillar along this quarter, we got new incomes of the business, approximately $60 million, what we have so far, which is new commercial products as well, which we have been delivering practically. We have had a contracted through Ecopetrol as well as what we had contingent hiring because of the maintenance of the products as well, because it has been a really good level, has been supporting a really good way in everything what we have been related. As well as the industry segments and mobility, they have been delivering some results. We have permits us that we have 18 million quarter feet per day to the additional transporting and all the mobility transport and projects as well, which is one of the pillars in order to be able to cover. We have 5,183 vehicles of units became, and 603 units has been incorporated as dedicated units, as 100% with gas transportation as well. With these products as well, we have developed along this period an important incentive for the usage of the National Service of Transportation of Ballena to the consumption centers, which is going to be really important as well, because we have had a reconfiguration as well of a system of parking system, which we're going to have optimization as well, not minor, to every single segments as well, to thermicals as well, natural gas of vehicles as well, and configuration, which is really relevant as well in the pillar of expansion of this way as well. It's really important to mention as well, we have had in the business, our stream business as well, they're reporting the previous report that we had been moving forward related to what was the open season report for the first plan of ING. Why open season? Because remember that we're only in the segment transport. We're not in the segment of, and the good news is that we closed the first floor and we're going to have demand in until 6 million of feet quarter per day. So it's going to be a capex and additional incomes as well, and some point millions as well, according to the moment where we are ready. Basically, we are speaking is going to be for the fourth quarter of 2024, but it's really important that you know that we meet moving forward with this initiative as well. That initiative is just a pilot for the 2023, which is part of what we have been doing, and we have been doing it in a really important way. On the other hand, what we want to mention as well is that in this quarter, we did everything related to what we were chosen to continue moving forward with the phase one, depending of the gasoduct of the capex as well. Where I don't know if you have all the investors have cleared this part, but it's basically the connection of the cafeteria and the field, which is going to be in Colfo Marrosquillos because of the National Transportation Service, which is really important for the country as well. We have chosen in phase one, this give us a capability of 300 million feet cubic feet as well per day. So it's going to be really important as well. Now we did an investment, now minor, remember it was an investment. It's an association that has here with a Ecopetrol as well. We're in the capex preliminary phases as well as the estimated phase. In this case is for the 2028. And finally, we were mentioning as well this enhancing project because we delivered this maintenance project through Gasoducto Maria Conchita as well, which is going to be really important as well to us. Is $1.28 million per year as well because our contingency for 10 years updated. We made progress in the regulatory strategy because it's a pillar, the strategy related to CREG and resolutions 099 and 175 in order to guarantee the best remuneration for our assets as well. So it's really important that we accept and we have the regulation 102 when it's going to be related to this, and it's going to be related to dependence as well. In the case we have been continue applying the scheme of this, everything related what we break in dollars as well, and that's why we haven't modified this entrance. As a consequence, we are defining that for all the contingency in 2022 is very important to all of you guys. In order to continue presenting the TGI, we present the dollars representation as a functional currency as well. We continue with related to all the places that we have. We are looking for the rate is going to be a whole stamp for all the system TGI as well. That I do believe is very important. And also it's relevant that you know that related to the belief in this regulation 175 this semester, we presented the Greek as a ministry as well, the concept of this period over this resolution. There are two aspects that we see here, which are really important for everything related. What is the principle of economical efficiency? The CREG continues evaluating these kind of situations and operations related to the CREG 175. That's a reference to the useful life as well and the change. Finally, since the point of view of the financial point of view, in the same way we have been working with this topic related to the regulations by the CREG's side, we moved forward in this quarter in all the sections that is going to mitigate the risk because of the specifications and rates and condition of the market as well. So it's going to be published as well. We just rebought the bonuses in 2028 as well, where we did a good job as well. We had great results with $155.9 million. Okay, because that day was going to be 154. And we received the authorization of coverage as well because of the site on the TGI as well, related to the Finance Ministry and Trade Ministry as well. Our team continues working as well related to all the topics related to works related to enhancing and expansion as well, and we work together to really to hard way in this call as we call We bring some efficiencies to the business. We have been delivering efficiencies and significant controls as well related to the control of the cost and expenses as well. And that's why when you see the results, articulated results we have been delivering, updated, we have $15.4 million as efficiency, and we projected for the 2022 an efficiency, recurring efficiency, an additional of $2 million approx. So we have brought as well as optimization of the contractual optimizations as well and maintenance as well. If it's good saying as well, our biggest efficiency in numbers, they were a little bit bigger, but also on the other hand, this efficiencies allows us to check part of the impacts that we have because of the rainings and everything what has been working related to the impact, let's see, of our infrastructure as emergencies as well because of the weather situations in the country as well. From the point of view of transformation, we continue moving forward in the map, the route map as well, and two pilots that we have been moving forward in a really important way as well, because we have been scaling in a short play the hydrogen distributed as well because of the impression as well of the hydrogen distributed in the as you know, just an alliance for these developments as well, related all that is going to be here and Visa and the organization of Transmilenio as well, and brings as well, and the mobility and sustainable mobility, and as well a group where Australia group where we have been coming all the associations as well for everything is going to be related to work carry on this process as well at the same time of this pillar everything related to works with the operations as well. We have been developing three digitalization projects of analytics, a digital pilot as well because of the internal and in our stations as well, and integrity because of our infrastructure that allows us to move forward. With this, I'm gonna give the floor to our commercial vice president, Juan Pablo. Okay, Monica, thank you very much. Good morning. You all, we're gonna come in with some additional data related to the usage of the contract in this quarter at the 87%. Which is going to be better than the first semester quarter as well. Is the graphic to the left that you can see there, and a comparison with 490, and the other one is 511. It was an increasing. In this case, we're talking about the 81%, which is going to be infrastructure that supports the TGI's infrastructure as well. To the right, we have the incomes. You're going to see the third quarter against the fourth quarter as well. We're talking about $5.3 million, so it's going to be the 5.5% in this case, which represents with the slides as well. And we're going to have these $16 million in order to reference to the 2021 and 2022 related to the comparison with the incomes as well and its behavior as well. We move ahead in the fourth quarter in a very similar way with an structural demand in as well as our component. We're going to give the floor to Beatriz, who's going to tell us about the profitabilities as well. Well, Beatriz, you can unmute the mic. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Juan Pablo. Well, as we see here, as we have, Monica has been highlighted related to the results and profitability and operational profitability and EBITDA that are very good ones. They are really positive. And in the first instance, I would like to highlight the topic that the behavior, this very important behavior that we have had related to the operational utility in this profitability after costs and expenses as well as the company, and in this the third quarter in a comparison with the fourth quarter of the 2021. As we can observe here, we had a variation of 16.5% in the operational profitability, and this is due to the good behavior of the incomes that Juan Pablo was saying and he was talking about, but overall, in a total way, that everything related to efficiencies that we have been generating the company because of the projects as well. and they were hard because of the McKinsey and all the initiatives that we have had in order to reduce all the costs and the expenses related to everything related to the company as well. And with this increasing related to the third quarter to the 2021 quarter of $8.4 million dollars. So, of course, this is a good behavior, and due to this operational utility, it's going to be transferring a good behavior of our EBITDA. And we can see here basically we increased the EBITDA margin related to the third quarter of 2021 based on to the 81.2 as well with an increase in of a 5.5 increase in million dollars, which means presently 7.2%, which are accumulated to $142, was going to be an increase in this case related to the today's with 2021 of 6%. In net profitability, the results they were the net income they weren't too good, but without these results explained apparently because we just did some provisions for our participation because it's in Peru, this participation, and eventually we did that provision. We did those provisions because we lost uh, a contingency that we had a struggle with the regulator of Peru, and basically, and that was mandatory to provision the status, financial status as well of Portugal as well. On the other side, we also was impacted the topic of the increase in that it was generated due to the income tax that was increasing the rate to the 31 to 35%, and that was basically what was impacted at the beginning. But as we can see, there is some EBITDA. We had a really good behavior, so we're going to give the floor. Well, I'm sorry, before that, before I would like to highlight the topics that we have related to the sale because of the debt, in this case of $1.2 billion, because it's really important. It was the one that we broke from the third quarter of 2021. As we saw, the biggest part of participation that we got is related to the bonus because of the bonus represents $1.2 million. And we had, as you know, an increasing as well with the energy of Bogota, which is going to be $300 million. And the bonus has a 5.35%. And intercompany is 5.01, which the average rate is going to be 5.35% indeed. So these results, they're having to account the operation as certainly when you saw and the one who Monica was describing is really important as well. In the month of October, we bought $155.8 million to reduce the impact of the population as well, the rebate of this resolution 175 because of the credit, because it's going to be applied to the balance itself. So even though these kind of things we try to operate because of the indicators that we have in terms of leverage and covering of expenses, they are really great, as you can see in the graphic to the left, because we have a really deep coverage because it has been reducing in terms of EBITDA as well, and this last arriving only 3 times. And EBITDA over financial expenses as well, we have overcoming the indicators as well as we were recommended because of the qualifier as well. I mean, 4.6 million versus the 3 times that was recommended the qualifiers as well. With this, well, then I'm gonna Allow me to give the floor to our Vice President of Sustainability. Thank you, Beatriz. So, good morning, all you. You all, we have been moving forward with this, our strategy of sustainability. We need to talk about this perspective in the first time, the environmental science as well, when it's going to be, we have moving forward with agriculture, with the conservation, and the UPAC as well, and some projects we have been working as a change of a compensation and conservation strategy and reconversion as well. These 22 beneficiaries of Miraflores as well, and Paez and Boyacá as well, contributing with the pollination of the native, the propagation of this honey thing as well. So it's going to have an alternative because of the community. So we're going to be really happy to be together with those two things with the community. We're going to move forward because of the maintenance related to 4,000 species in Puente Guillermo, La Belleza, Las Jonias, and Miraflores as well. In the meantime, we have had some maintenance of 4,000 species and beef and palms and helechos and some wax trees. We're going to reach the 78% of the advance of this adjustment plan because as you remember, the previous year, we did the measurement of because of the 13% of the refrigeration structure when we found 170 points with leaks and 100.70 points. We just did just an adjustment to the 78%. These works have allowed us to reach 100 tons per year. And finally, with the environmental of the Grupo Energía Bogotá, we just launched the energy of the sense of the reduction of this with the gases in the greenhouse effect. With the support of the groups, we are just initiating the consultory, which is going to start helping us with the sense of constructions in order to be with the cost efficient expenses. We're going to be able to accomplish these goals because of the social, besides the projects that we have, as I told you at the beginning, we have achieved. We have some very good achievements as well in the first team. TGI improves the results related to the principles for the Women's Day as well, and 82%. This is just a together group of principles of the companies how to foster the equality of gender and the stability with women in the market in the communities. So this is established because of the Worldwide Pact of the United Nations and the UN Women, which is going to be based in international rights as well and human rights. Part of the acknowledgement and recognitions that the companies should have in a responsibility as well in equality of gender and to have an equal sensation of women because we're really happy because we're really focused to work in equity of gender and empowerment of women as well. So related to these talents and variety, we have achieved that the 70% of women, they would be women in this transition with a participation of 44% in our board of directors. And with the new hirings as well, there had been women. This is the first time we have a higher percentage related to hiring women in this case. We are really happy because we came back to the presidential volunteers procedures as well during the first quarter. We have first volunteers as well in ONDA because we had the participation of the community as well and the beautiness of the school of the community and obviously in the vereda when we have the occupation of the 40 people were participating in a reforestation community activity and we're really happy because of that. So as I tell you, we are really proud of this because we have this responsibility, social responsibility in order to take care about women. Finally, we took advantage because of the taxes per we just we were working in aras and solar aras in Antioquia, Bolivar, Cesar, and Valle del Cauca. Because of the presence of more than 70 billions of pesos, we were adjudicated to this quarter. So we already started this socialization with the entrances as well. The last week we were with the educational secretariat as well in Bolivar. Tomorrow we're going to be in El Valle. And the third quarter of this coming year, we're going to deliver the first rooms, schools that we're going to deliver more than 21,000 students around these departments. And finally, related to the governance environment from TGI, we did an alliance with the Externado in a global impact. We just started with the first steps in social responsibility in this case, which is going to be strengthen the micro and small and medium companies because of our criterion. We're looking forward to strengthen this operational status as well in order to be the ones who are supplying as well and sustainable programs really robust and very specific goals. And mainly, we appreciate the ethical code and providers when it's going to be related to human rights as well, diversity, equity, and inclusion and sustainability as well. This code it has been developed as well as this in the finals in the end of October when besides we just adjusted and it just is a new responsibility when we are placing is going to be related to this TGI processor as well. In this pillar as well, with these collaborators as well, we have been added to this conduct behavior because in the end of this coming year, the 1% of TGIs is going to be helping us to this support. So we're going to close this advanced sustainability of this quarter, and we're going to give the floor to Mario. Thank you. Thank you, all the team of TGIs. We're going to present as follows. Manuela, do you want to ask a Q&A session in the end? So yes, thank you very much. We're going to give the floor to Mario. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. It's a really special greeting from Peru. Thank you very much for the final results quarter 2022 from Cálidda. In order to start, it's really important to ratify that as an organization, we continue doing our investment commitments and massification of natural gas as well. So as well as this closing of this quarter 2022, we were able to connect 2020 to customers because it's a really important milestone of our customers as well, and in order to have access to an energy source, competitive ones according to the limits as well. The same way as well, we continue with our agenda of sustainability as well, with the connection of new corridors to the gas natural and the preservation of our cultural heritage as well. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I guess you have your camera closed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sure. And the contribution, of course, and the contribution, cultural contribution related to all what archaeological part, as well, in order to have an historical museum in this case. And finally, as we were saying before, Cali is going to move forward with some operational quality results, which really solid ones as well. It's not only to be reflected of the disqualifications of risks, but also the laboratories related to the expectations and results in the ending part of the year. Saying this, please let's go to check our main facts and results at the closing of the first 22 quarter. In terms of results, commercial results as well as operational ones, the volume, it was the invoice, the volume 796 queued quarter as well related to this increasing of 7.6%. On the other hand, we were executed new connections, 59,017. It was the minor of the last quarter of 2021 and line it with a new operation which was major belongs to the 10% of increasing accumulator increasing what we have been doing related to the expansion of the networks. We were talking about 344 kilometers constructor because it was a really digit different related to the previous year due to the needs to compensate during the second semester of the 2021, the commitment kilometers during 2020, and the results were related because of the pandemic. And even though it's important to highlight this result, it has been aligned related to the accomplishment of the general plan approved by the government in 2021, 2026. And finally, and related to our financial effort, our EBITDA to the closing during the third quarter of 2022, it was going about $55 million. It was an increase of 13% related to the quarter of the previous year. I would like to pass to share some relevant facts. In order to start to mention Fitch ratings, the qualification triple B because of the steady position, because of the issuing of the bonuses from Cálidda as well as the qualifier of a Pacific rating as well issued the triple A qualification with a steady participation, in this case with local communities as well, because results there continue moving forward with our solid position and financial perspective as well. That's why it's really important to share with you as an organization as well. We are the number 22, top 22 related to reputation, as well as the position number one in the gas and oil and gas petroleum industry, and related to gas petrol, the Camisea. It was launched officially, the GNV bonus, which is going to give us that incentive economical, the 10,000 and 15,000 to acquisition of the GNV buses as well and trucks, because this fund is going to start talking about $32 million, and it's going to allow us to have the transformation of 2,100 vehicles new or I guess natural red. And finally, as a part of our commitment as well with development as well related to these kind of things, we recover more than 1,020 birds related to Chancay culture and variants as well, because of our culture ministry has been recognized as well, because we have been recognizing this stunt with we talk about the first diving thing of the district. We're going to give it the pre-Hispanic history and all of this, thanks to the YouTube that we have been working with Cálidda. So covering these facts as well and results, we would like to get into, well, we have the commercial developments and financial operational thing as well, because of the operational, commercial operational development as well, because the 2022 and the assure is going to be related to 179 per day. It's going to be increasing in 7.6 related to the quarter is going to be pretty similar to the previous year. This result is mainly explained by the increasing of the demand of the sector of vehicular sector, as well as the improvement of the competitiveness as well, because we were reaching because of the hydrocarbons. As well, we're going to have the conversions of the G and V, thanks to the financial that we have through the states and through the final coming soon, as well as the demanding of the integration related to have as this is a very important, the increase in related to the thermical central because of the cycle as well, and combined cycle as well as because of the interest and maintenance of some hydroelectric and cost representative important at Peru, which is in Montero as well. It's very important to ratify that near 71% of our total invoice factor is coming from LA contracts, which is going to be a lifestyle of 12 years. We're going to give us some stability as well and future flows. Passing through the next slide, we're going to be able to observe the comparative between the gas natural rates and their near substitutions, where it's going to be raised. These rates is going to be included of the service of distribution, the charges, because of the gases and transportation as well. Both concepts is going to be effects with Cálidda as well. Our rates, because in Cálidda is going to be highly competitive as well in every single segment as well. We have been arriving and they're going to be to kind of ports as well. The closing of the third quarter of 2022, the competitive average competitiveness as well in the sector of the financial vehicle as well is going to be the range of 60% for the industrial sector, and the electrical generation is going to be under the range of 80%. Passing through our operational development as well, we continue with our enhancing process, contributing actively speaking with this classification of natural gas and in Cálidda, Peru. So in this graphic to the left, we can see, for example, 51,017 new conditions during the last quarter were related to accumulated, allowed us to arrive to a total 1.5 million customers, which represent the 10% of the increase in facing the total of customers to the closing of the third quarter 2021. In addition, we achieved with our network distribution is going to be enhanced in 342 kilometers during the third quarter, where allows us to take into account with a distribution system in the range of 15,700 distributions to the closing of 2022, as well as the kilometers, as well as the new connections executed. They keep aligned with the fracking that we have because it was approved by the government and the Peruvian authorities. So there, let's go to check the development and the financial development of our organization related to what is going to be the adjusted incomes. There's going to be adjusted revenues. In this case, we're going to 70.9% boosted by bigger incomes of distribution, as well as a result, as well as the increase in, as of course, we have mentioned the invoice, the volume, as well as the increasing of the rates of the products, of the rates and tariffs increasing as well in previous years, as well as we the same accumulated in the third quarter of 2022. They increased to $72 million as well. It's going to have an increase of 17% versus 2021. Related to EBITDA, in this case, the first quarters, and it's going to be related to increase of the third quarter of 2021 in this accumulated income. So now our EBITDA is going to be $164 million related to this, so 60%. Continuing with our financial developments, and going to the next slide, we can appreciate that our financial debt to the close of this quarter is going to be $817 million. It's going to be the 40% because of international bonuses, 20% of the local bonuses, and 40% because of our multilateral debt. Related to the profile of this closing of this quarter, we count with international and some back loadings as well, loans, because we're going to be mainly to the second semester 2023. As we were saying before in so many occasions as well, those financial things as well, they come with a really important founded and committed as well. We're going to deliver this multilateral, which is going to be in total for $120 million. And finally, in terms of leveraging as well, the EBITDA thing, we're going to keep in multiples of the range of 3.7 times as well, and the coverage and interest, and it's going to be able overcoming of 7. Now let's go to check our closing perspectives of the closing of the year. In order to end it up, our guidance, we're going to share with you our projections of the closing of 2022 for the indicators, more relevant indicators of our operability, as well related to the impact of the network. We're hoping closing up 1,350 and 1,400 kilometers of available networks, as well as to connect related to 220,000 total. We're going to reach 1 million of customers to the closing of 2022. Related to our EBITDA, we hope to close an EBITDA range of $210 and $215 million, and in to the net debt will be the 3.7 and 3.6. Saying that, well, thank you very much for your time. We're going to give the floor for the Q and answers sessions. Thank you, Mario. We remind you all, if you have any kind of questions or something. Manuela, we cannot hear you very well. Can you speak a little bit louder? Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you all. We remind you that you can ask your questions in the Q&A sessions in the superior side of the upper side of the screen. We have some questions, so we're going to ask. The initial questions are to TGI. I'm going to ask you, Juan Pablo, who's going to help us with the first one. So, Andres Duarte from Corfi Colombiana, good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. What about the stamp developed for every single place as well? Because it's the capacity. How is going to be the calculation of the rates in that case? Thank you very much. Thank you, Manuela. Hey, it's a very good question. The stamp is just something that's going to be TGI. It's only by TGI. We're going to have a component as well, because we're going to have the volume as well. And basically what we have today indicates in this case is just going to have some effects within some regions as well. We're going to have some, it's going to apply the rights in such a way. It's not going to have an impact for TGI from the sustainability, but the contrary, we're going to have a lower risk as well. We have some players as well with the stamp as well. We're going to be represented of this because of the percentage, but we have a total system which is going to be analyze our proposal as well because of the sections and to be the cost versus benefits. Thank you, Juan Pablo. Mónica. Also from Andres Duarte for Corfi Colombiana. Do you see a risk to reduce the rates to the chain of the gas as well as you're doing an electrical chain? I would like to join that question, Manuela, because posterior, Vicky was asking us, Ezequiel Fernandez, related to rates. And when it's really important that all of us, we know, not only from TGI, but all the completed chain through the oil and gas, we have been doing an analysis of rates of what means the gas sector versus the energetical sector as well and electrical sector. And in fact, our situation is really completely different. We do feel when we are seeing, particularly the segment, for example, of transportation is a segment that our enhances are being below the inflation as well. And I link this question about the WACC changed and the change of the rates afterwards that we have been doing. I guess Ezequiel Fernandez was asking, according to what is really important to know, Ezequiel, that related to the check app that we have been performing with all of this related to the regulatory environment and is doing reference to WACC and what which means to move with the with new resolutions. The increasing will be only 3%, which is really lower, in fact, about inflation we have been mentioning in the country. That's why we feel very comfortable, and we have a particularly section that has been working with the Greek as well as we know in terms of demanding is very small, as well as Juan Pablo was saying, we needed to take into account because we need to avoid a peak because it's the only thing that we observe related to the rates that we have been observing here. Thank you, Monica. Indeed, Ezequiel was asking us too many questions, some of them for Juan Pablo as well. So I'm going to read. Good morning. I'm Ezequiel Fernandez from Balance. Thank you very much for the call. And I would like to ask you three questions. Juan Pablo, I'm going to read the first two questions because the third one, Monica, was already answered. So the first was related to the font of micro energy. So it would be liquefaction or related to regasification. In which area do you think the 100% of the capacity is already, and who are those? Thank you, Ezequiel. Well, it's a liquefaction plant in the phase one with TGIs, presents serves that service as well. And in Barrancas area as well related to the operation because we've been located at this project. We are closing, as Monica was saying at the beginning, we're closing this presentation in this case with this process that we had been doing in order to understand if the demand, and we're going to start working with the linking contracts in order to have the approval of the same one as well. And the capacity is going to be 6 million cubic square per day as well, feet as well. So in this case, it's going to be, we're going to have the mobility inclusive for some sectors in order to try with this carburant because it's really important as well in the border with Venezuela because this is energetical situation as well. Thank you, Juan Pablo. Ezequiel is not Colombian, so it's in Barranca Bermeja, which is in the east of the country, with near refinery of Ecopetrol. I'm going to ask you the second question. The second question is related to the project TGA from Zero. Could you repeat, please, which points could connect? What about the phases that we have left related to the project to participate in the auction? Well, the points that is going to be connected is going to be put for Rey and the coast with the interior, and after with the cover Promigas and connect with the TGI infrastructure to the Barrancas as well, even with Vasconia as well. We have been here these points as well. There isn't a phase one by the Austin because of the producer, because what they mentioned of the yield as well. You're going to have some wells as well from here to 2023 as well. We have to have too many things in order to move forward related to what we have thought with the gas and oil services as well as that Shell has as well. The good and the positive thing here that we have been selecting these companies in order to be within that phase one. I was going to represent $4.2 million, and it's an investment that we can handle as well. and only in the industries as well. And according to this, that year we're going to be able to have this year an increase is going to have the completed thinness as well. The steps that we continue here, but because of the producer, in order to have the capacities that we have as well and to continue maturing and topographies as well, which is basically what we have been working here in order to work in an auction. This is that part of the objective that we have because we're one of the players in this case with more position in things as well in order to move forward. Thank you, Juan Pablo. Another question for you is through Andres from Corfi as well. And it says, please update related to the bidirectionality that it belonging to Omegas as well. If you know it, I don't know if you hope Medellin is going to be able to work the directionality as well, or it nothing to do related to this as well. The direct back direction is related to the Barrancas project as well because it's already built up as well, and related to the interior and vice versa as well because there was a project, huge project that TGI had this year because we're gonna be able to give this directionality as well, taking into account with Medellin as well, in the same way that we're gonna have be able to talk about this because of this profitability as well, giving some different reports as well. We're gonna be able to give this risk and to handle this risk as well because there is something that we had been hoping from a long time as well, and there is something that we need to continue moving forward as well in order to work with this as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this and for these questions. And I take advantage to give the new CFO at TGI. We're really proud of, really happy to have you in the team, Beatriz. So we're going to read you both questions because our relationship, because they have Andres Duarte. Because please explain us the first of all the accounting in order to reduce the debt with HEB as well. And the other one says, but it's going to be Ezequiel. It tells us, what about the raise related to the intercompanies loan that is at the expiration date in December? What about this? So thank you very much, Beatrice, and welcome. Thank you very much for your welcome as well. And in our relationship with intercompanies credit, it's pertinent to highlight that Andres, as Ezequiel as well, that at this moment, we're working at this moment related to work with this prorated 1 year intercompanies. It's going to be pending of this because of the part of Energy Bogota to present its financial committee this coming 21st. Because of the board of directors of TGIs as well, we have been doing and we're going to do press its essence just a prorate of it's a creation of expiration dates for 1 year. And we're going to accomplish the contract that we're working with. If the rate of interest is going to be 30 basic points to the prorate as well. In that way, if we want, we're gonna not gonna have be able to see this port to this prorate because we had been updated as well. Because of the specification as well, is eventually we need to do some operational soft coverage as well, and that's why due to the event of the companies is going to be in dollars as well, so we're gonna be the credit at that moment is gonna be this 175 as well, with certainly we're gonna start this coverage in operation with a really minor thing that we have been doing before in 2028 as well. That would be my answer. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Beatrice. So we're going to move forward for Cálidda. And Mario is going to help us with the answers as well. Well, both of them are from for Colombia and Andres Duarte as well. So I'm going to read it. In which quarter we're going to end it up the execution and investments not executed related to the pandemic? Okay, thank you, Andre, because of the questions. And well, in our case, 2020, we executed 1,000 kilometers. It was related to this, and it's gonna be the gross of the operation is gonna be in 2021. We executed more than 1,000 kilometers of networks as well. However, to May of 2022, we ended up to accomplish with that obligation, that pending obligation that we have because it was the uh, income tax because of the quinquennial as well. It was close to May 2022, where currently we have covered all related to what we have been relegated to the pandemic, and we have covered all these obligations. What we are doing here from May on is going to be an obligation related to has been approved, and we has been working together. We has been published in June or July of this year. Thank you. I'm going to read you the second one. Cálidda 2, as you know, which is the role of the gas role through the Peruvian energetical transition is going to pending more consumption. And what about the percentage? Well, we have a really important percentage related to the decisions that we have because we are lucky to take into account with 20 years approved reservations as well. And in this case, with let's say with some tariffs extremely competitive as well in every single segment as well. Well, what can I tell you is for these coming 7 years, we have a bigger penetration and enhancing plan one side went by the residential side, what naturally is going to generate more consumption as well, and the vehicular side as well. Cálidda has, let's say, a level of penetration, which is really important related to light vehicles as well. However, and due to the increasing of the substitute prices as well, the government it has been given some funds as well in order to give some things, some light vehicles that is gonna be working on and we have a pending work related to what we have heavy vehicles as well. And here, related to these coming years as well, there is a really important increase as well as the number of vehicles as well as residential side as well. And afterwards, you start seeing the way the renewables, you start working related to electrical ones, is going to take a really important role of the energetical transition. The renewables currently represent more than 5%, and natural gas and electrical parts 40% as well. We'll need to see the evolving process of the infrastructure. We say the renewable process in order to understand, let's say, if we have a level of transition, but in general, we are moving forward and we have been thinking that within the matrix and the gas natural and everything is fundamental because first of all because it's economical, well, because it has a rate and sustainable because currently we cannot assure that part as well. Thank you, Mario. So we have a question from Christian Durant because we were identifying, he didn't identify the company, but I would like to know what about the route map related to alliance with Brinza? In this case, to answer this question, we're going to ask the favor to Santiago Acosta, Vice President of Transformation of TGI, who's going to help us. Santiago, good morning. Thank you very much. Well, with Brinza, which is a really important player that uses this hydrogen in these processes and generates heat, because another energetical and the root map is going to first of all to reap the institutions as a current fonts of the heat in this natural gas as well, and to become green the hydrogen that we are using. And afterward, we use that hydrogen not only in this process, but also for some other applications as well, industrial applications with them. And eventually, in the route map as well, we are thinking to use this hydrogen, so mobility in Bogota. So also, we're going to be able to work, and we are talking to them to use it with the CO2 that generates to do some first analysis of industrial application of gas, and that's what we've got planned in that route map as well. Ana is asking us a question with Corridors da Vivienda for TGI, and she is asking, what about the tributary reform in these financial results? So Beatriz and Monica, can you answer that question? Sure. Well, go ahead, Beatriz. So, okay, I take it. Thank you, Manuela. So, let's see. From the analysis that we have done related to tributary reform that it was approved because of the Congress, in fact, the impact that this has related to direct way, related to the results of TGI, is practically none because, unfortunately, the transportation ministry was highlighted. Mitrigas, first of all, uh, it doesn't have the overrate that it was imposed under the petroleum and carbon in a relationship with the prices because it doesn't exist for the topic of TGI and in general, let's say, because of the gas. So precisely, it doesn't exist. And secondly, the rate of carbon rate that of course that has the tax to the gas, it doesn't affect directly TGI because of the activity of TGIs is the transportation. The carbon rate for gas, it could be impact probably to the importers of the gas as well, the producers that they use the gas in their operation. And on the other side as well, because it's everything related to the limitations and deductions that have been established in a relationship with the income tax. So we don't consider there's going to have an impact. Practically, the impact that is direct related to the results is practically zero. Thank you very much, Beatriz. And a final question for the ones who haven't asked. If you want to ask the right side, the upper side of your screen, you have a symbol to ask some questions and answers. And over there, you can write to ask your answers related to the future of gasoducto with Ganacol. Do you consider this should have a regulatory capacity of 100 million cubic per year from Juan Pablo? Thank you very much for the question. Canacola, what I understand, they did all the regulatory things in order to have these possibilities here related to connection. Over that, what we have been doing, so it's just to completion the expectations about this because of the expenses during the country. And no doubt we're gonna have these details ahead, of course, with these Canacol accounts as well. Thank you. So what we have been doing is we don't see any more questions at this minute. So if you want to do the question, welcome. And if not, so we're gonna thank you. We're gonna give the floor to Monica for those final considerations to Mario and if this appears, Monica, these questions, I interrupt you and everything was clear, so don't hesitate to count to the teams for any additional question as well. Thank you very much for your attention and your participation. Go ahead, Monica. Thank you very much, Manuela. Thank you very much for every single person who has been connected to the here on behalf of TGR, on my behalf. I would like to tell you we're really satisfied with this, the negotiations with TGI, with the development as well, with everything who has been working here together. We have been continue transforming each other and having the impact, the social impact that we have had, which means to act this energetical impact to the transition at any moment. It's very important moment for the country, for the world as well. And we continue working this impact as well with economies, and it's really important with this energetical waste and sustainability. So we invite you, obviously, to have our next meeting to present the results. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Mario. We'd like to say final words from Cálidda's side as well to thank you because of the time as well. We are really satisfied because of the results that we have been achieving, the growth of double digit here, the consistent in order to generate these results in the latest years as well. And with really important responsibility, taking into account that Cálidda's means that leadership means gasification and natural gas at Peru, that's the way we feel, and that responsibility will lead it every single day, as well with results as well. This is a more open year. We're going to have our connections investing at Peru as well, and giving the product and the example, the role model to live this reality. Massification of natural gas, which is one of the topics and which is one of the achievements that we have, is because it's one of the needs for the country as well as it's going to be really important because it's a really economical resource, which is clean and is safe as well. Juan Pablo, thank you very much. It was just a last hour question, as it's really short questions from Andres Duarte. Remind me if the TGI has a really pilot project in pipeline related to hydrogen, or this is not going to be tied TGI directly. I would rather Santiago rather Santiago answer that question. Yes, Santiago. Well, thank you very much. Of course, we have a pipeline of hydrogen. We have two elements because it's a distributed hydrogen is going to generate hydrogen before this was usage as well. And at that moment, we're two pilots moving forward in a really decidive wave as well. One of the stationary waves and industrial waves as well related to mobility and often we have another ones of access of hydrogen, which is related to brains as well, to distribute it to some situations, industrial situations, because cost taker, because we are guaranteed as well. And also we have some together works with the Grupo Energía Bogotá, with its vice presidency of businesses, and when is the information challenge. With them, we also have another pipeline commitment with hydrogen as well, orientated to the virtual ammonic and methanol as well, because we're going to generate some other businesses of hydrogen of that chain. So of course, we're going to move forward as well with a really huge decision of distribution that's centralized as well. Thank you very much. Well, now we're gonna thank you for your participation and every single additional question. Do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye. Have a great day. Thank you, you all. Okay, good day.